The fluorescent lights in the HR office hummed like wasps trapped in a jar. Marcus Webb sat with his hands folded on the conference table, trying to control the tremor in his fingers. Across from him, Helen Stoddard from Human Resources arranged 3 printed documents with surgical precision. She wouldn't meet his eyes. "Marcus," she began, her voice carrying the practiced neutrality of someone delivering a terminal diagnosis, "we need to discuss the materials that were sent from your work email yesterday evening." His stomach dropped. "I didn't send anything yesterday evening. I was home with my daughter." Helen slid the first document across the table. It was a screenshot of an email sent from his address at 9:47 p.m. containing proprietary client data from Brennan and Associates' most sensitive account. The recipient was a Gmail address he'd never seen before. "That's not possible," Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't." The second document landed in front of him. A photograph, not just any photograph. His breath caught in his throat. It showed a woman, young, blonde, unconscious on a bed, and the metadata stamp in the corner read 2 nights ago, the night he'd worked late. "Where did you get this?" The question came out strangled. "It was posted to your Instagram account at 2:14 a.m. this morning," Helen said. "Along with 17 similar images, the police have already been contacted." The room tilted. Marcus gripped the edge of the table. Instagram? He barely used Instagram, and 2 nights ago he'd been alone in his apartment reviewing depositions until midnight, then collapsing into bed. "This isn't me," his voice cracked. "Someone hacked my accounts, someone." The third document silenced him. Bank statements. His bank statements, showing 3 wire transfers totaling $47,000 to offshore accounts, sent yesterday afternoon while he'd been in court. Helen finally looked at him, and what he saw in her eyes was worse than anger. It was pity. "Security is waiting outside to escort you from the building. You have 15 minutes to collect your personal items. The partners have already filed a report with the Virginia State Bar. And Marcus?" She paused. "Detective Reyes from the Richmond PD will be here within the hour. I'd suggest you call a lawyer." Marcus stood on legs that didn't feel like his own. Through the glass wall of the conference room, he could see his colleagues studiously avoiding his gaze. 23 years old, Sarah from accounting. Her hand covered her mouth as she stared at her computer screen, probably looking at those photographs, those impossible, horrifying photographs. The last 72 hours felt like trying to remember a dream. What day was it? Wednesday. It was Wednesday morning, and his life was ending, and he didn't know why. But somewhere in the fog of panic, a memory surfaced, a face, a stranger's face, earnest and apologetic. "Can I borrow your phone real quick? Mine's dead and my wife's in labor." Monday evening, the gas station on Route 1. Oh God, Monday evening. 41 hours earlier, Marcus had been a different man. Not happy exactly. Divorced fathers raising 8-year-old daughters rarely used that word, but stable, reliable. His life ran on rails he'd carefully laid. Drop Emma at school, court, or depositions until 5, pick up Emma, dinner, homework, bed, weekends at the park. Every other holiday with her mother in Alexandria. It was a small life, but it was his, and he'd rebuilt it brick by brick after the divorce. Monday evening had deviated from the script only slightly. Emma's mother had picked her up early for a dentist appointment, leaving Marcus with an unexpected free evening. He decided to work late at the office, then stopped at the Exxon station on Route 1 for gas and a terrible cup of coffee before heading home. The station was nearly empty. Just Marcus, the bored teenager behind the bulletproof glass, and the sedan at Pump 3. The October air had that first bite of autumn, and Marcus had been thinking about whether Emma needed a heavier jacket when the man approached. "Excuse me, hey, I'm really sorry to bother you." Marcus looked up from the pump. The man was roughly his age, mid-30s, with sandy hair and a wrinkled button-down shirt that suggested a long day. He had the kind of face that was instantly forgettable, pleasant, unmemorable features that could have belonged to any of 1,000 middle management types scattered across Richmond's office parks. "My phone died," the man said, holding up a dark iPhone screen as evidence. "And my wife just texted before it went. She's at the hospital. Labor started early. I know this is weird, but could I borrow yours for just a second? I need to call her, make sure she's okay." The man's hands were shaking, real fear in his eyes. Marcus had hesitated. He knew the warnings, had read the articles about phone scams and identity theft. Never hand your phone to a stranger. But standing there under the harsh station lights with this man's obvious panic radiating across the space between them, those warnings felt paranoid, unkind. Yeah, of course, Marcus heard himself say, no problem. The relief that flooded the stranger's face seemed genuine. Thank you, God, thank you so much, I'll be 30 seconds, I swear. Marcus watched him step away, the phone pressed to his ear. The conversation was brief. Hey, it's me. I know my phone died. Are you okay? Is Mom there yet? Punctuated by nervous laughter. The man paced near the vacuum stations, his free hand running through his hair. 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. Then he returned, gratitude written across his features. She's fine, they're both fine. First baby, you know, everything's terrifying. He handed the phone back. Seriously, thank you, you have no idea. Glad it worked out, Marcus said. Good luck. Yeah, thanks again. The man had walked back to his sedan, a dark blue Honda, Marcus remembered now, though he hadn't paid attention to the plates, and driven away. Marcus had finished pumping gas, bought his coffee, and thought nothing more about it. The phone had felt normal in his hand, no different, no heavier with the weight of what would come. He'd driven home, microwaved leftover pasta, answered a few work emails, and gone to bed by 11. His phone charging on the nightstand, exactly where it always was. What he hadn't known, what he couldn't have known, was that in those 2 minutes the stranger had done more than make a phone call. He'd installed something, a ghost in Marcus's machine, invisible, patient, waiting for the right moment to wake up. The first sign came Tuesday morning, though Marcus almost missed it. He woke at 6:15 a.m., the same as every weekday, and reached for his phone to silence the alarm. But the alarm wasn't ringing. Instead, his screen showed 47 text messages and 23 missed calls. His first thought was Emma. Something happened to Emma. His hands shook as he unlocked the screen, but the messages weren't about his daughter. They were from numbers he didn't recognize, interspersed with contacts he hadn't spoken to in years. Who the fuck do you think you are? Delete my number, you creep. I'm reporting this to the police. Sarah gave me this number, said you were harassing her. Marcus's chest tightened. Sarah? He didn't know any Sarah. He scrolled through the messages, his confusion morphing into dread. Several included screenshots of text messages sent from his number late last night containing explicit, disturbing propositions. The language was vile, violent. I didn't send these, he whispered to his empty bedroom. He checked his sent messages folder, empty, but the screenshots didn't lie, his number, his contact information. His hands were fully shaking now as he opened his email. 41 new messages, mostly automated notifications, password reset confirmations, login alerts, account activity warnings. Someone had tried to access his bank account at 3:47 a.m. His Amazon account showed orders he hadn't placed, expensive electronics scheduled for delivery to an address in Baltimore. His Facebook showed friend requests sent to dozens of underage profiles. The room felt like it was shrinking. Marcus called his bank first, was transferred 3 times, finally reached fraud department. Yes, they'd flagged suspicious activity. No, the wire transfers had already been processed, they'd come with correct authentication codes. Had he not authorized them? No, I was asleep. Sir, the security protocols require. He hung up and called the Virginia State Bar, his law license, if someone was impersonating him using his credentials. The woman who answered was professional but cold. Mr. Webb. We actually have you on our call list this morning. We've received a complaint regarding misappropriation of client funds. What from who? I'm not at liberty to discuss the details, but you'll be receiving formal notification within. Marcus ended the call, his breath coming in short gasps. This wasn't random. This was targeted, coordinated. Someone was systematically destroying him. But why? He called the office, got Helen in HR, tried to explain. She listened with that careful neutrality that people use when they don't believe you but can't say so yet. Come in at 9, she said, we'll discuss it then. The morning dissolved into a nightmare of phone calls, credit bureaus, social media platforms, email providers. Everyone had the same message. The activity originated from his devices, his IP address, his authenticated accounts. The security protocols had worked exactly as designed. By the time he showered and dressed, Marcus felt like he was piloting his body from somewhere far away. He made coffee with hands that wouldn't stop trembling, burned his tongue, barely noticed. His phone rang, Emma's mother, Diane. Marcus, what the hell is going on? His heart stopped. What do you mean? I'm getting messages from people. They're sending me screenshots of things you supposedly wrote, disgusting things. They're asking if Emma's safe with you. The coffee mug slipped from his hand, shattered against the kitchen tile. Diane, I didn't. Someone hacked my accounts. Someone's impersonating me. Emma's not here, she's with you, but I swear to God I didn't. I want you to stay away from her. Diane's voice was ice. Until this is sorted out, I'm serious, Marcus. You can't. Watch me, I'm calling my lawyer. The line went dead. Marcus stood in his kitchen, surrounded by broken ceramic and spreading coffee, and felt the first real wave of terror, not for his job or his bank account or even his reputation. For his daughter, for the one thing that mattered. He looked at the phone in his hand, this device that had become a weapon pointed at his life, and finally understood that he was in serious danger. But he still didn't understand why. The memory of the stranger surfaced again, the parking lot, the borrowed phone. Marcus opened his phone's settings, navigating to installed applications. The list was long, he barely used half of them. Banking apps, social media, productivity tools, nothing unfamiliar. But then he noticed something. A system update had run last night at 2:33 a.m. Automatic updates were disabled on his phone, they always had been. He checked the battery usage logs. There, a process he didn't recognize, running continuously since Monday evening, consuming minimal power, deliberately staying hidden. It had a name, System Secure V2. Marcus Googled it, no results, no legitimate app by that name existed. His phone rang again, making him jump, unknown number. He almost didn't answer. But some instinct, maybe the last remnant of the lawyer in him, the investigator who needed evidence, made him swipe to accept. Marcus Webb, a man's voice, not the stranger from the gas station, someone older. Who is this? My name is Detective Vincent Reyes, Richmond PD. I need you to come down to the station to answer some questions regarding materials posted to your social media accounts. The photographs, Helen had mentioned photographs. I didn't post anything, Marcus said. My accounts were compromised, I'm being framed. That's what we need to discuss, Mr. Webb. Can you come in voluntarily or do I need to? I'll come in, but I need to find out who did this first. I think I know when it happened. A pause. When what happened? When they installed the malware, Monday night, I let someone borrow my phone. Another pause, longer this time. Marcus could hear typing in the background. Mr. Webb, I'm going to need you to come in now. Don't stop anywhere, don't talk to anyone, do you understand? The detective's tone had changed. Urgency crept in around the edges. What did they post? Marcus asked. What were the photos? We'll discuss that when you get here. Are you at home? Yes. Stay there, I'm sending a unit to pick you up. Don't leave, don't touch your computer or phone beyond what's necessary. This is important, Mr. Webb. The detective hung up. Marcus stared at his phone, this treacherous thing, and felt the walls closing in. 20 minutes later, through his front window, he watched the police car pull up to his building. The interview room at Richmond PD smelled like industrial cleaner and desperation. Marcus had been in rooms like this before, but always on the other side of the table, always as the lawyer, not the suspect. Detective Reyes was in his 50s, with iron-gray hair and eyes that had seen too much to be easily fooled. He sat across from Marcus with a folder that seemed too thin to contain the destruction of a life. Tell me about Monday night, Reyes said. Marcus recounted the gas station, the stranger, the borrowed phone. With each word, he watched Reyes's expression harden. Did you get a name? No, he said. His wife was in labor, I thought. You thought you were helping? Reyes opened the folder. Mr. Webb, I'm going to show you something. It's going to be disturbing. The first photograph made Marcus's vision tunnel, a young woman unconscious or drugged in a bedroom he'd never seen. The metadata stamp said Sunday, October 13th, 10:47 p.m., 2 nights ago, the night he'd worked late at the office. "That's not me," Marcus whispered. "I wasn't there. I was at Brennan and Associates until midnight. There are security logs, cameras." "We've already checked. You badged out at 11:52 p.m. Reyes slid over another photo. Same woman, different angle. "These photos were taken with an iPhone 12 Pro, same model as yours, and they were uploaded from your Instagram account at 2:14 a.m. Tuesday. Someone cloned my phone, the malware I found." "We'll need to examine your device." Reyes paused. "Mr. Webb, there are 17 photographs total, 4 different women. The metadata suggests they were taken over the past 6 weeks. 6 weeks? Impossible." Marcus felt the ground giving way beneath him. "I want to help you," Reyes continued, "but you need to be straight with me. If someone targeted you, we need to know why. Who would do this?" "I don't know. I'm a family law attorney. I handle divorces, custody cases. I'm nobody." "Your recent cases, anyone who might hold a grudge." Marcus thought, dozens of cases, bitter separations, parents fighting over children, but nothing that would warrant this level of sophisticated revenge. "The Hendricks divorce," he said slowly. "It was contentious. The husband, Paul Hendricks, made some threats, but that was 3 months ago and his phone buzzed, still in his pocket despite Reyes's request to leave it in evidence." Marcus glanced at the screen. A text from a number he didn't recognize: "Stop talking to the police." His blood froze. Reyes noticed his expression. "What is it?" Marcus showed him the message. The detective's jaw tightened. "They're listening," Marcus said. "Jesus Christ, they're listening right now." Before Reyes could respond, Marcus's phone buzzed again. Not a text this time. A video file sent via encrypted messaging app he'd never used. Reyes put on latex gloves, took the phone, pressed play. The video showed Emma, Marcus's daughter, walking out of her elementary school that afternoon, today, just hours ago. The camera followed her to Diane's car, zoomed in on her face as she climbed into the back seat. Then the video cut to black, replaced by text. "Drop the investigation or she's next." The room spun. Marcus lunged for his phone, but Reyes held it away. "We need to get your daughter into protective custody right now," the detective said, already standing. "Where is she?" "With her mother, Alexandria." Marcus's voice didn't sound like his own. "You have to." "Already calling it in." Reyes had his radio out. "Alexandria PD, this is Richmond Detective Reyes, badge 4719. I need immediate protection detail too." He looked at Marcus. Marcus rattled off Diane's address, his mind fragmenting. They had filmed Emma. They knew where she went to school. This wasn't about ruining his life anymore. This was about control. Within 10 minutes, Marcus was in Reyes's unmarked car racing north on I-95. Alexandria PD confirmed Emma and Diane were secure, shaken but safe. "Tell me everything," Reyes said as they drove. "Every case, every client, every person who might want to hurt you." Marcus tried to think, but his mind kept returning to the stranger's face, that forgettable, pleasant face. And then it clicked. "The Westbrook case," he said suddenly. "Oh my God, the Westbrook case." Reyes glanced over. "What's that?" 7 months ago, custody evaluation. The mother, Jennifer Westbrook, was trying to prove her husband was embezzling from his company to hide assets during the divorce. I represented her. The husband, Daniel Westbrook, he worked in cybersecurity, network security for defense contractors. Did she win? She got full custody and 70% of the marital assets. Daniel lost his security clearance, his job. Last I heard Marcus stopped. He was making threats, vague threats about how lawyers like Marcus destroyed families, how the system was rigged, how someone should teach these people a lesson. He had the skills, Marcus continued, the expertise to do this, the malware, the account takeovers, all of it, and the motive. Reyes was already on his radio, running Daniel Westbrook's information. They reached Alexandria 40 minutes later. Emma was in a conference room at the police station, doing homework under the watch of 2 officers while Diane paced outside, her face a mask of terror and fury. "Marcus." "She's safe," he said. "That's all that matters." "Is this about your work? Did one of your clients I think so, the police are looking into it. An Alexandria detective approached Reyes, spoke in low tones. Marcus caught fragments. Westbrook's apartment is empty, hasn't been seen in 3 weeks. Neighbor reported suspicious activity. His phone buzzed, another message, this time to his personal email, forwarded to his phone. You told them about Daniel, wrong choice, check your daughter's Instagram. With shaking hands, Marcus pulled up Emma's Instagram account. She barely used it. Diane monitored it carefully, just a few photos of school events and family outings. But there was a new post from 20 minutes ago. A photograph of Emma in her bedroom, taken through the window, posted with a caption that made Marcus's stomach turn, Daddy's little girl. They're at the house, Marcus said. Right now they're at Diane's house. The police response was immediate. 6 units dispatched to Diane's address. The house was empty when they arrived, but they found a camera mounted in the tree outside Emma's window, professional grade, broadcasting to an encrypted server. How long had it been there? Marcus sat in the police station, holding Emma while she cried into his shoulder, not understanding why Daddy's work made bad people angry at them. His phone buzzed again. This can all stop. Wire $500,000 to the account we'll provide. You have 48 hours or everyone sees the real photos. Real photos? Marcus felt ice flood his veins. There were no real photos. These were all fabrications, deepfakes, manipulated images, weren't they? But then he thought about the level of sophistication, the planning, the surveillance, and he realized they could make real photos. They could place him anywhere doing anything. The technology existed. Detective Reyes read the message over his shoulder. This is extortion now, he said. That actually makes our job easier. We can trace the... They've been 3 steps ahead of us the entire time, Marcus interrupted. Every move I've made, they've anticipated. The gas station wasn't random. They knew I'd be there. They researched my routine, my schedule. This has been planned for months. Then we need to figure out their endgame, because this, Reyes gestured to the phone, this is just the beginning. Marcus looked at his daughter, her small body trembling against his chest, and felt something break inside him. Someone had weaponized his kindness, had turned a simple act of human decency into the mechanism of his destruction. And they weren't done yet. The safe house was a nondescript townhome in Arlington, 20 minutes from the Alexandria station. Emma and Diane were there by midnight Tuesday under protection detail. Marcus wanted to stay with them, but Reyes insisted otherwise. You're the target, the detective said. Staying with them makes them more vulnerable, not less. So Marcus found himself in a different safe house, a motel room off Route 50, with a deputy marshal named Torres watching the door and his entire life reduced to the contents of one overnight bag. His phone, now in evidence, was being analyzed by the FBI's cybercrimes unit. They'd confirmed the system's secure V2 malware gave complete remote access. Calls, texts, emails, camera, microphone, GPS. For 41 hours, someone had been inside his life, watching, listening, documenting. The stranger from the gas station had been in and out in 2 minutes. That's all it had taken. Wednesday morning brought a breakthrough. The FBI traced the malware's signature to a toolkit called Black Ghost, sold on dark web forums for sophisticated identity theft operations. But it wasn't Daniel Westbrook who'd purchased it. It was Jennifer Westbrook, the client Marcus had represented, the mother he'd helped. That's impossible, Marcus said when Reyes called with the news. Jennifer was the victim, her husband was the one with cybersecurity expertise. Not anymore, Reyes said. We executed a search warrant on her apartment an hour ago, found 3 burner laptops, surveillance equipment, and a file cabinet full of research on you. Your routines, your schedule, photographs of Emma at school. This has been in planning since February. But why? I won her case. She got full custody, the house, everything she wanted. Read the letters we found, Mr. Webb, all of them addressed to you, never sent. An hour later, Marcus sat in an FBI field office, reading Jennifer Westbrook's descent into madness. The letters chronicled her growing paranoia after the divorce. She'd become convinced that Daniel hadn't been working alone, that Marcus, her own attorney, had been part of a conspiracy to hide assets and manipulate the case. She believed Marcus had deliberately thrown the investigation to protect Daniel's employer, the defense contractor, some shadowy government connection that existed only in her imagination. By June, the letters turned dark. Plans for revenge, ways to destroy Marcus the same way she believed he'd destroyed her trust. The irony was suffocating. Marcus had won her case, secured everything she'd wanted, and she'd rewarded him with this. She recruited her brother, Reyes explained. Timothy Garrett, systems administrator at a hospital in Richmond. He's the one who approached you at the gas station. We have surveillance footage showing him casing the station for 3 days prior, learning your patterns. The pleasant, forgettable face, Marcus remembered it now with perfect clarity. Where are they? In the wind, Jennifer cleared out her apartment yesterday morning, hours before we identified her. We've got alerts at all the airports, but... Marcus's borrowed phone rang. The FBI agent across the table answered, listened, then went pale. Emma's been taken. The next 4 hours were a blur of sirens and federal agents and Diane's screaming and Marcus's world ending for the second time in 3 days. The protection detail at the safe house had been ambushed, both officers drugged with something in the coffee delivery they'd accepted at 9 a.m. Emma had been gone for nearly an hour before anyone realized. The ransom demand came at 2 p.m. Wednesday. $500,000 in Bitcoin to the provided wallet. You have until midnight. Come alone to the exchange point. No police or we disappear and you never find her. You did this to yourself, Mr. Webb. You destroyed a mother's life. Now you understand what that feels like. Marcus read the message in the FBI command center, surrounded by agents strategizing rescue scenarios, and felt himself split in two. The rational part of his brain knew these situations almost never ended well. The hostage takers either killed their victim or were killed themselves. The statistics were brutal. But the father in him didn't care about statistics. I'm going, he told Reyes. That's not how this works. She's 8 years old, Marcus's voice cracked. She's terrified and she doesn't understand why this is happening. I let a stranger use my phone because I wanted to help someone, that's all I did, and now my daughter is paying for my kindness, so yes, I'm going with or without your permission. They argued for an hour. The FBI wanted tactical teams, surveillance, negotiators. Marcus wanted his daughter back and he didn't trust that all the federal resources in the world would be enough against Jennifer Westbrook's unraveling mind. Finally, they reached a compromise. Marcus would go to the exchange point, a parking garage in downtown Richmond at 11 p.m. with a wire and GPS tracker. SWAT teams would stage nearby. The moment Emma was safe, they'd move in. It was a terrible plan, everyone knew it, but no one had a better one. Marcus spent the remaining hours securing the Bitcoin. His savings, his retirement fund, loans from colleagues. By 10 p.m. he had the ransom ready on a hardware wallet. Tours drove him to the parking garage. The FBI van parked 2 blocks away. Marcus stood in the fluorescent-lit concrete structure at 10:58 p.m. alone, holding the digital wallet that represented everything he'd built over 15 years. At 11:04 a car pulled in, the dark blue Honda from the gas station. Timothy Garrett stepped out. He looked different now, harder, more focused. The pleasant mask was gone. Where's my daughter? Nearby, show me the wallet. Marcus held it up. I did what you asked, now give me Emma. Your attorney fees destroyed my sister's life, Timothy said. She spent everything fighting a divorce she should have won faster. You dragged it out, racked up bills, all while pretending to be on her side. I got her everything she wanted. You got her debt and paranoia and a daughter who barely recognizes her anymore. Jennifer lost her job, her house, her mind because of your fees and your games. The math didn't add up. Marcus's fees had been reasonable, Jennifer's employer issues were separate, but Marcus could see the truth didn't matter. Timothy had been fed a narrative of betrayal and accepted it wholesale. Where is Emma? Timothy smiled. Your wife has her. Marcus's world stopped. What? Your ex-wife, Diane, she's been helping us from the beginning. No, that was impossible, Diane would never. But even as Marcus rejected it, pieces fell into place. The too quick arrival of the divorce papers modification requests, Diane's immediate willingness to believe the worst about him, her suspiciously timed pickup of Emma on Monday evening, removing her from Marcus's custody just hours before everything collapsed. The custody arrangement wasn't giving her what she wanted, Timothy continued. Shared custody, watching Emma bond with you during your weeks, she hated it. Jennifer promised to help her get full custody. All Diane had to do was support our story, confirm that you were unstable, provide access to your schedule. Marcus felt himself sway. You're lying. Emma, check your email, the one we didn't hack, your real personal account. With shaking hands, Marcus pulled out the burner phone Tors had given him, logged into his old Hotmail account, the one he barely used anymore. There, an email thread between Diane and Jennifer Westbrook dating back 4 months. Plans, strategies, Diane's growing enthusiasm for the idea of destroying Marcus's reputation so completely that no family court would grant him custody. He thinks he's such a good father, Diane had written. Let's show everyone who he really is. The parking garage spun, his own ex-wife, the mother of his child. Give me the wallet, Timothy said. Marcus looked at him, looked at this man who'd helped orchestrate his destruction over a paranoid fantasy, looked at the gun now visible in Timothy's waistband, and made a choice. No. Timothy's hand moved toward the weapon. Don't be stupid. Where's Emma right now, or I drop this wallet into the storm drain behind me and you get nothing. A standoff, 5 seconds, 10. Then Timothy's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression darkening. They found Jennifer, he said. Your FBI friends, she's in custody. Relief flooded through Marcus, but Timothy's next words turned it to ash. Which means plan B, Timothy drew the gun. You're going to confess to everything. The photos, the harassment, the financial crimes, all of it, on video, and then you're going to sign over full custody to Diane. Do that and Emma goes home safe. I won't. You will, because Diane has her right now, and if you don't cooperate, Emma has an accident. A terrible, tragic accident, single-car collision on Route 1. These things happen. Marcus understood then, this was never about money, it was about complete destruction. About forcing him to participate in dismantling his own life. The FBI wire under his shirt felt like a lifeline. They were hearing this, they would move in. But how fast could they move? Fast enough to stop Diane if she was already in motion. I need proof Emma's alive, Marcus said. Timothy made a call, put it on speaker. Diane's voice, Marcus. Where is she? He barely recognized his own voice. Asleep in my car. We're parked at the overlook on Route 1 where you used to take her to watch the trains. I'm sorry, Marcus, I thought this would be easier. Thought you'd just give up after the first day, but you kept fighting and now. Put her on the phone. Rustling, then Emma's sleepy voice, Daddy. Something inside Marcus broke and reformed harder. Hey, sweetheart, everything's okay. Mommy's going to bring you home soon. I'm scared. I know, baby, but you're going to be fine, I promise. He ended the call before his voice could crack completely. To Timothy, I'll do it, the confession, the custody agreement, all of it, but I do it in person. I see Emma first. Timothy considered this, nodded, get in the car. The FBI would follow, they had to. Marcus climbed into the Honda's passenger seat, the gun pressed against his ribs, and watched Richmond's lights blur past as they drove north on Route 1. 20 minutes later, they pulled into the overlook. Diane's SUV sat in the darkness, Emma visible in the back seat. Marcus was out of the car before Timothy could stop him. He pulled open the back door, gathered Emma in his arms. She was crying, confused, half asleep. Daddy, what's happening? We're going home, sweetheart, right now. Timothy and Diane stood by the Honda. Diane's face was a mask of anguish and determination, a woman who'd convinced herself that destroying her daughter's father was somehow for the child's own good. The confession, Timothy said, now. Flashing lights appeared on the highway below, the FBI finally closing in. Timothy saw them too, his expression hardened. You brought them. I brought everyone. Marcus backed toward Diane's SUV, Emma clutched against his chest. It's over. For a moment Timothy stood frozen, then he raised the gun. 3 things happened simultaneously. Diane screamed. Marcus threw himself and Emma behind the SUV. And 6 federal vehicles swarmed the overlook, agents pouring out with weapons drawn. The standoff lasted 90 seconds. Timothy, surrounded, holding a gun he knew he wouldn't use. Finally, slowly, he lowered it, surrendered. Diane collapsed to her knees, sobbing, "I just wanted her back, she's my daughter, mine." Marcus held Emma while federal agents secured the scene, held her while they arrested Diane and Timothy, held her while she asked questions he couldn't answer. The truth would come later, the trials, the custody evaluations, the years of therapy Emma would need. For now she was safe. But Marcus understood as dawn broke over the overlook and Emma finally fell asleep against his shoulder that safety was an illusion. The world was full of strangers asking to borrow phones, ex-wives nursing grievances, clients sliding into paranoia. And kindness, simple human kindness, could be weaponized by anyone determined enough to see malice in good intentions. He looked at the FBI agents taking statements, at Ray's approaching with paperwork and apologies. His career was still destroyed, his reputation might never recover. The photographs and false accusations would follow him forever, archived somewhere in the internet's infinite memory. Emma stirred in his arms. "Daddy, can we go home?" "Yes, sweetheart, we can go home." He carried her to the FBI van, past Diane being loaded into a patrol car, past Timothy Garrett staring at nothing with empty eyes. The sun rose over Richmond, indifferent to the wreckage of Marcus Webb's life. And in his pocket, the phone he'd lent to a stranger, now in an evidence bag somewhere, held the ghost of that moment. 2 minutes in a gas station parking lot, 2 minutes that had been enough to lose everything. The cruel mathematics of modern life, how quickly trust could be turned into a weapon, how easily the digital self could be hijacked, replicated, made monstrous. Marcus climbed into the van with his daughter and closed his eyes. He'd gotten her back, that was supposed to feel like victory. But all he felt was the weight of understanding that he would never lend his phone to a stranger again, never offer help without suspicion, never trust the pleasant face of desperation. The world had taught him that lesson. And Emma, growing up in the shadow of this trauma, would learn it too. That was the real ending, not the arrests or the trials to come. But the death of the man who'd said yes, of course, to someone in need. And the birth of someone harder, someone who understood that in the age of screens and surveillance and simulated realities, kindness was a luxury he could no longer afford. The van pulled away from the overlook as the sun cleared the horizon. Behind them, evidence markers dotted the parking lot where Marcus's old life had finally, irrevocably ended.